All right, y'all. I'm doing a 2 collab video because CJAX just made a video about evolution, and I did do a live stream on it. So I do want to react to that video, but I know you guys want to see this video bad, so I'm gonna go ahead and let this video ride out while we get to the evolution video. So I'm gonna let you guys listen. All right.
Now let's talk about Saturday night's main event. I wanted to come on here, right, and actually talk about this show maybe in a positive light, or at the very least, if it sucked, it would suck because of the quality of it, which obviously the quality of the show was absolutely horrendous. You get what I'm saying? However, Seth Rollins, obviously, we have to talk about this injury, okay? This injury was bad. Now, this is bad for multiple reasons, which we're going to discuss later on in the video, but just on its surface, right? I've made multiple videos. Obviously, recently I've bashed, this storyline that Seth is in and this new faction with him and Heyman and Braun and, Brunson. This faction, this storyline is garbage, right? The triple threat with Roman, Punk, and Rollins did not have a good enough story to warrant it even being a match, and obviously the aftermath of it was this garbage storyline, okay? This has been awful. Let me just preface that immediately. However, like I've said in the past, and I will always say, I do like Seth Rollins. He is one of my favorite wrestlers. And at the end of the day, I've made multiple videos about this in the past. Rollins under Roman Reigns, like those two are the most respected dudes from my perspective over the last decade of this industry. And that's just what it is. Without Roman or Rollins, none of this stuff works. You get what I'm saying? You have to have both of them inside. Yes, Roman is a bigger and better star in my opinion. I get that. But Rollins is an anchor of WWE as well. And he is important. He is vital. He sacrificed and put his body on the line for so many years. He put his, his knee was blown out last year at Mania 40. And he was still out there wrestling and helping us, be entertained, putting himself out there in main events and stuff. He is an anchor of this industry, and he deserves my respect. He's one of my favorite wrestlers for a reason, okay? This is Seth Rollins we're talking about here. However, this injury versus LA Knight, it is legit. The reports have come out, and his knee is actually injured. And he called an audible to put over LA Knight, which I thought was very, selfless of Rollins, because Rollins always does that, He puts over the greater good, like he put over Cody Rhodes 3 times in 2022 when he came back to elevate him. Rollins is always going to do what's best for the greater good. And that's just what he is. He's a selfless guy when it comes to, this industry. So that's that. But this injury sucks, man. Number one, what happens now with the Money in the Bank briefcase? You know what I'm saying? Like, what happens now with this briefcase? Also, Goldberg retiring, obviously, is, kind of going to get a little bit overshadowed. Not really, I guess, but it will get kind of overshadowed because we're going to be talking about Rollins' injury and stuff. There was so much content in wrestling today, It's just straight burnout. And the Rollins injury just kind of sucks the life out of everything, you know what I'm saying? So, but Goldberg retiring, man, that is a legend that is saying goodbye. So, it was great to see Goldberg go out there one last time and have his match versus Gunther. I did not enjoy the match. I thought it was kind of bad. However, at least we got to see Goldberg hit a spear, with the match lasted longer than 3 minutes, which was shocking. And it is what it is. So I do think that it was great to see Goldberg one last time. I didn't enjoy the match, but it's not about really enjoying the match. I mean, it's about saying goodbye to a legend, and that's what it was. So that was the situation with that. Now let's talk about the rest of the show, which we can skim through, because this first stuff, man, with Orton versus Drew McIntyre, there's no point of even talking about this, man. This was a disaster. WWE at this point has given up, right? The fact that we're getting a situation where, we have Drew McIntyre fighting Randy Orton and getting jobbed out again, while Michael Cole's shouting, "Jelly roll with the right hand! Jelly roll with the right hand! Jelly roll with the right hand!" You know what I'm saying? Like, stop. We're losing our minds because Jelly Roll threw a right hand at Logan Paul. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense, man. So I just found it absolutely egregious, and that's just what it was. Okay, we then move on from that. Randy Orton obviously pinned Drew McIntyre after an RKO. Drew McIntyre has been pinned by Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, Randy Orton once, or I think it was either Randy Orton once or twice, I think, in the last, year or whatever. He's been pinned by Randy Orton. This has now been pinned again at Saturday Night Main Event. He obviously got pinned by Damian Priest. The fact that this is taking place, and he also got, concertoed at the last Saturday Night Main Event and got knocked out, and that was it. This is an embarrassment. Drew McIntyre is being buried every single time that he even shows up. There's no point in this anymore. Why is Drew McIntyre, one of the top talents in the industry, fighting against Jelly Roll at SummerSlam in a tag match? Like, this is, we can just move on. Nobody cares. Let's just move on from this. We then get Jade Cargill and Naomi battling outside, you know what I'm saying? And that's basically that. Then Bianca Belair returns, and Bianca Belair is revealed to be the special guest referee for their match tomorrow night at WWE Evolution, okay? So we'll see what happens with that. And after this, I think this is probably my favorite and, my best part of the night, in my opinion, besides, Goldberg's retirement speech, which got cut off, by the way. They didn't even let Goldberg finish his retirement speech because I guess they had to cut the deadline at 10 p.m. Eastern time at least. And so so Goldberg couldn't even get his speech in. But we then got Jimmy versus Solo. This match was actually pretty solid in my opinion. Honestly, this was better than Solo versus Jacob Fatu because Jimmy Uso is utilizing multiple different moves. The big whisper in the wind off the top of the turnbuckle. I thought that there was a nice little German suplex on the apron there. They did some pretty cool moves in this match. There was decent selling, and Jimmy Uso showed out. He definitely looks better in ring than his brother Jey Uso, you know what I'm saying, Mr. Yeet Man. So that was pretty cool to see this match. Obviously, Jimmy Uso loses. He only loses off of a roll-up, though, because Hikuleu, or Talatonga, whatever they want to call him, helps Solo get the rollover on Jimmy and pin him. Jacob Fatu then comes out and brawls with them, sends them all packing for some reason, which I find stupid. If there's 4 of them and one of Jacob Fatu, he should be getting destroyed immediately, but, you know, it is what it is. At the end of the day, that's how this ends. Jacob Fatu comes out, and he does his little, like, body shake thing, and Jimmy Uso's laughing at him in the corner, and we end the segment. We then get to Rollins versus LA Knight. This is basically where things just went off the rails. I mean, things were already off the rails at this point. The Drew McIntyre versus Orton match was pointless garbage, and Logan Paul was getting pushed around by Jelly Roll, and now you got to Rollins and Knight, and you just wanted to see a decent match, but again, this match shouldn't even be happening, because these PLEs are so shoved next to each other, they're so forced, and Triple H does not book in advance, so you don't know how these things are going to play out. I mean, you knew Saturday Night Main Event was coming, you know what I'm saying, you have 4 or 5 of them a year, and you know when they are, and Triple H still couldn't book a decent Saturday Night Main Event, not one time out of the 5 times they've done this, it feels like. So it's just sad. But this match took place, and obviously the biggest story is, overall this match was decent, but obviously Seth Rollins ended up getting hurt, okay? He hurt his knee, it looks like. The injury is legit. Originally, Rollins was slated to win this match, apparently, and he was actually going to, beat LA Knight here clean, obviously, or at least that's what it seems like. And then after he beat LA Knight clean, he could have maybe came out later and cashed in. I don't know if that was going to happen or not, but, you know, it was a possibility, I'm assuming, okay? And then obviously Rollins now getting hurt. I don't know what's going to happen next. This ruins everything, honestly, for Raw, because you have to look at this realistically. You're now going to have a situation where Gunther is the World Heavyweight Champion, and then Rollins isn't even on the show, you know, temporarily because he's injured, right? And you know Cody and Roman are going to be shooting that Street Fighter movie coming out, or they're going to be filming that this fall. John Cena is only showing up once a month right now anyways, because he's only got 15 dates left in the year. Like, this is not a good thing. You understand? Like, this is not going to be good. So, I don't know what's going to happen with this. Raw, they're going to have to call some massive audibles, and I'm talking some huge audibles. And just think about how awful that Monday Night Raw and SmackDown have been for the last, just this year alone. We can obviously include the last parts of last year, but let's just say this year to be nice. This shows, both of them, have sucked. They've been horrible. The booking has been bad. Triple H has not built any new stars, which is now a problem. I bring it up over and over again, and now you're seeing it's an issue. Because when a top guy goes down, who do you have to fill their place? Main event Jey Uso? Braun Breaker, who's booked like a bum in a mindless hive mind bot? His promo work isn't even polished? Who do you have? Penta? Sami Zayn? Karrion Kross? I mean, you are digging for mid-carders to replace main eventers. That's just not even, it's not even fair, man. It's not even realistic. It's so embarrassing that it's even coming out of my mouth, but it's facts. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. These shows suck. They're booked poorly. None of the championships are prestigious anymore. Every show is boring. You can barely watch them. And in the midst of all these issues happening and your top stars all being part-time, now your full-time guy is injured. Like, this is one of the worst things that could have happened to them, bro. Like, Gunther cannot be World Heavyweight Champion. It just isn't a possibility anymore. If you want your company to survive amidst this era, because listen, Roman Reigns is your top star, okay? And he is part-timing already. He's not even going to be there once he starts filming this movie. Cody Rhodes is one of your top stars. He's going to have to go film that movie. John Cena's already part-time and he's retiring at the end of the year. Randy Orton is feuding with Jelly Roll, okay? And then you Drew McIntyre is feuding with Jelly Roll, sorry, and Randy Orton's on Jelly Roll's side. And then you also have a situation where, what's his name? Seth Rollins now is injured. Punk already can't go like he used to. He can't wrestle consistently anymore. He doesn't show up every single week anymore. So I don't know what you have left. The only options you have is for Roman Reigns to potentially return. You pay him the extra few million to just, you know what I'm saying? To just, show up semi-consistently going forward and give him one of the world championships so we at least have something to look forward to every week or every other week. That's the only way you can go through with this. Or you could have a situation where the Money in the Bank contract is revealed to go to Roman Reigns or CM Punk. All you have to to do is open the briefcase, and Heyman reveals the contract and says, you know what? No one ever read the contract. And then you zoom in on the contract, and it shows that, hey, this is assigned to Roman or this is assigned to Punk, and it was a work the entire time to, to what's it called, to ease over the feud with these three dudes, Rollins, Punk, and Roman. And then that way, one of them, whoever he chooses between Punk and Rollins, or Punk and Roman, sorry, a lot of Roman and Roman, you know what I'm saying? He picks one of them to actually have the Money in the Bank, and then that person then gets the Money in the Bank and cashes it in to become world champion at some point.
Okay, I just want to stop the video real quick to let y'all know that Raquel got some new merch for the summer, dog. And it's black and gold. It's going down for real. Now, the price is not right, but hey, the shipping is free with the code on the bottom. So you already know, if you got an extra 40, go ahead and cop this merch. Because this merch is on fire. And this girl is on fire. Raquel is off the scale with this merch, dog. And also the link is going to be on the bio, so you already know. Let's get back to the video. Raquelio!
Those are the only logical ways that you can get out of this situation. Or you can have The Rock come back, slip him some millions if you can, see if the millions and millions is enough to whirl him back into the WWE world. And he comes back, and because he's the boss in storyline and out of storyline, he can easily just say, I'm overriding this Money in the Bank briefcase, and I'm choosing to give it to Cody Rhodes, who's now becoming heel. Or I'm choosing to give it to Cena so he can guaranteed retire as the last champion. Or I'm choosing to give it to Roman, you know what I'm saying? Or I'm choosing my cousin Roman, I'm going to give him the title, give him the Money in the Bank, and then Roman cashes in. Either way, some collection of Cody, Cena, Punk, Roman, Rock, you know what I'm saying, or even Orton or LA Knights, people like that, they are going to have to be your main storyline people going forward. Braun Breaker's not good enough. Brunson Reed's not good enough. That Money in the Bank contract or the main storyline on Raw needs to go to someone who is worthy of it, and the only people who will be available consistently are people like Punk or LA Knight, and that's it. That really is it. Unless you're going to somehow finesse or try and, swindle Roman or Rock into showing up semi-consistently more often, then this is all you got. You got Punk and Knight on Raw. That's the thing, you know what I'm saying? Or you can't go back to Jey Uso. It's not going to happen, but anybody needs to be there besides Gunther. You cannot have a watchable show with Gunther as your world champ, Rollins not being there, Cody not there, Roman not there, Cena barely there, Orton feuding with Jelly Roll. How is that going to work? That's not watchable. So they're going to have to take the title off Gunther, and Cena's going to have to probably show up a little bit more often going forward this year, which is what I think he's going to do. That's why his 15 dates are still left for the rest of the year, and we only got 4 or 5 months. So it just is what it is, man. It's a rough situation. It's a cataclysmic injury because it affects everything. Now that Rollins is taken out, what happens with Braun and Brunson? What happens with Paul Heyman? What happens with the briefcase, which is a free world championship shot? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going to happen with that just looming out there in the distance? So there's multiple ways they're going to have to go through this. I'm going to probably make a video talking about where they can go next with this Rollins injury now and what can happen now, because we could be witnessing the end. You know what I'm saying? Now that let's just say that Rollins has the worst knee injury possible, right? What if he tears his ACL or busted open a ligament or something like that? This dude's probably going to be out for around a year, right? If he comes back in around a year, I think he'll be 41 or 42. What is the point even at that point? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is he coming back for? He's not going to have any big more world title runs anymore probably at that point. Maybe one more, if that. And then after that, what does he have left? He already feuded with Punk. He feuded with Rock. He feuded with Cody. He feuded with Roman. He got Orton. He fought Lesnar. He fought Cena. Like, in the past, it's like, what's left? I think Rollins should come back and maybe have one more reign and then feud with Roman one last time, have one last match with those two, and then that'll be it. Roman's done probably. He said himself, he's going to pursue acting, obviously, after 2027 Mania. So, I mean, like, what do you have? Cody's in his low 40s. LA Knight's in his 40s. Orton's about to retire soon, probably in the next couple of years. Punk, same thing. Cena's done at the end of the year. You don't have anything left. And Triple Fraud has not built any new stars. That's why I keep bringing up how he builds no stars and how that's a problem. Because now you see when top dudes get injured, you have no one to substitute the impact of Seth Rollins or any of these top guys. You don't have it anymore. So the fact that there's no one being built up, there's no one nobody cares about, and there's nothing to replace what Seth is giving you, I don't know what you do from here, man. Triple H is at fault to blame for the fact that there is no stars right now, because he could have built stars. He could have brought up a Trick Williams and experimented and pushed him. He could have pushed a Melo Hayes. He could have done better booking Braun Breaker rather than making him a lackey to Seth Rollins in this stupid faction. He could have done different things like that, but he didn't do it. He could have given LA Knight a world title to see where it went, That's what he could have done, but he didn't do it. He could have booked Cody Rhodes better. He could have turned him heel already. He could have done multiple different things, but he chose not to. And now we have boring champions, bad shows, and the sad thing is, if this product was already as bad as it was without Roman being there, without Cena being there, without Orton, without, you know what I'm saying, without Punk being there consistently, and now you remove Rollins from the mix, Cody wasn't even there for a month and a half after Mania, do you know what this is going to look like? This is going to be shambles. It's going to be in shambles. It's shambolic. That's what WWE is headed towards. It's already been shambolic for months now, but it's going to get even worse. How do you get worse from ground zero? You get what I'm saying? How do you get worse? You know what I'm saying? You're already at the floor. How do you get lower than the floor? So it's only going to get worse if this continues and this booking continues to be as bad, and that's the situation with that.
Now, although CJAC didn't really watch the whole pay-per-view of AEW All In, he's missing out on a lot of matches that I consider 5 stars. And if you look at these screenshots right here, it pretty much showed you that every match was a 4 out of 5. There's really nothing about All In that really wasn't all in or defined all in. Everything about AEW was described all in. And everybody in every single match card went all in. Even the 3 matches during the 0 hour, it went all in. So, listen, CJAC, I rock with you, but I'm going to have to disagree with you about all in, okay? Everybody in these matches were not jobbers. They were athletes. They were elites. That's the purpose of all elite wrestling. That's the purpose of AEW. It's about all elite wrestling. Everybody from WWE is not elite. They used to, like Maya May, Ricky Saints, Ethan Page, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, and Jay Cargill. But then as soon as they come to WWE, what have they been doing besides getting promotions? And, I mean, some of them are still in NXT. Some of them that are on the main roster, where are they at now? Stevie Bakura was at AEW at one point, but even though she was only there for a short period of time, it's just like, like Sean Spears. People forgot about him because he hasn't really been doing much but hanging with Izzy Dame. So, again, we can't hate on AEW when AEW put these stars on. Well, Cody been in WWE, but then when he went to AEW, that's when his popularity started to go up. So, at the end of the day, man, you got to put some respect on AEW, because if it wasn't for AEW, there wouldn't be no Maya May. There wouldn't be no Ricky Saints. There wouldn't be no Ethan Page. There wouldn't be, I'm trying to think. Cody Rhodes' popularity wouldn't be so big. You know what I'm saying? Jay Cargill, same thing. You know what I mean? And, Aleister Black, these people really had really built their careers from AEW. And then as soon as they come to WWE, what have they done? Getting jobbed out, getting booked incorrectly. And it's just like, okay, what are we doing this for? Maya May just got started, so hopefully she'll be okay. And anybody else that come from AEW to come to WWE, hopefully they'll be okay too. Like Brad Baker, hopefully when she comes, she'll be okay. Just got to go to NXT first, and then when you come to NXT, hopefully you'll come to the main roster, and maybe we can start some things over there. But I don't know how the leadership is going to be next year. I don't know how the creative's going to take care of this. But however, anybody that's hating on AEW, at some point you're going to have to change your minds about AEW, because you can hate on them all you want, but after All In, I'm pretty sure they already made a statement that ain't nobody can fuck with all elite wrestling. And Tony Khan is, to me, you may disagree with me, but Tony Khan, to me, is one of the greatest bookkeepers of all time. To me. So Vince is first, but to me, Tony is second. And I don't know if Jeff Jarrett was a bookkeeper when he owned TNA. Y'all can comment down below, let me know. But whoever owned I know Jeff Jarrett owned TNA back in the day, but hey, whoever was the bookkeeper for TNA from 2004 to 2000 and 2000. When did I graduate high school? I think it was like 2000. Let's see, 2004. Like I graduated in 2016, so I'll say 2014 is when I stopped watching TNA. So I'll give it a timeline from 2004 to 2010. Yeah, 10. Yeah, 10. Because I don't remember what happened in 2012. I don't think, because like I said, I think I stopped watching TNA once I got to high school. But however, I was still watching it in middle school. So I'll say from 2024 to 2012. So back when they had the Beautiful People, and they had, Mr. Anderson, and they had the Abyss, and AJ Styles, Kevin Nash, Christian, Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, Hulk Hogan, Mick Foley, and the rest of the ECW members and the Hardys, and Eric Bischoff, and Dixie Carter. I don't know if people remember her. She used to be the general manager. But, and of course, Brooke Hogan. Got to remember that. Got to remember Brooke Hogan. And Miss Tabernacker. I hope I said her name. No, Brooke Adams. And Gail Kim. So, and there's some more, Madison Ray. So many people. But, Billy Gunn. I could go through the list. Beer Money. Yeah, Rob, like there's so many people. But yeah, man. Shout out to Tony Khan, man. So let's just I'm gonna let the video ride out because we gotta get to the Evolution video. So let's let the video ride out so we can get to this. All right. Let's continue.
We then ended off with Goldberg getting his retirement speech that was cut off, so we don't even know what he said. What did they literally cut it off on the broadcast? He said thank you to Atlanta and thank you to his family, and he loves the family and he loves his, Atlanta, and that was it. So then it cut off. I don't know what else he said. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what to say about it, man. It was a really unfortunate night. A lot of wrestling happened today. There were some great moments, some really high highs, and some really low lows from AEW, from WWE, from NXT, everything. It was a disaster in some parts, and some things were good here and there. But overall, a lot of stuff to unpack, a lot of stuff to process. But I'm done processing it. I'm burnt out. This show was garbage. It was an absolute disaster. Not in the way that it normally is a disaster, but it was a disaster nonetheless. This show probably, I don't even really care about rating it. Just know it was extremely bad. So, you know what I'm saying? For all types of different reasons. So, it is what it is, man. At the end of the day, that was your day of Saturday wrestling. A bunch of content took place. Let me know your thoughts on All In, on WWE, on Saturday Night Main Event, Rollins' injury, Goldberg's retirement. And as always, for the one time, Goldberg, you know what I'm saying? I forgot to even talk about this match. We got to talk about this match, bro. Goldberg and Gunther had a match. This, obviously, I told you guys I didn't like this match that much, but at the very least, we saw Goldberg rock out with his family. I don't know, for some reason in the actual match, for some reason ran directly headfirst into a barricade. I don't know what Triple H was thinking. He's sitting back there, he's like, yeah, the game, Goldberg broke his head open. What are you doing? I don't know who choreographed this spot, but it is what it is. So Goldberg did that. He ran into a barricade. They cut to commercial, came back. Goldberg and Gunther had each other in headlocks. Gunther then, taunted Goldberg's son. Goldberg's son got held back. Afterwards, we basically saw Gunther go back in the ring and get speared. Then the ref came out after the ref was bumped down from Goldberg's first missed spear. And then the ref counted, and Gunther kicked out. Put him in a headlock, game over. That was really it. So, that was basically the situation with that. Decent shenanigans, nothing crazy here. This was a pretty mediocre at best match that borderline on being bad at times. I'm just glad that Goldberg made it out walking on both feet and didn't get hurt and didn't hurt anyone else, and everything went fine. So, it is what it is, man. This show was a disaster, and that's all there is to really say about it. So, thank you guys for watching this video. Have a phenomenal day. And as always, now we can do it for the one time. Respect to the legend that is Goldberg. 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 You know what I'm saying? And we hope for Rollins to get a very speedy and healthy recovery, man. And hopefully he can come back and wrestle some more years and stuff like that and pursue his dreams in whatever field that his life takes him. Thank you guys so much for watching. Shout out to Goldberg one last time for the legend that he is. And hopefully has a happy and healthy and safe retirement with him and his family. Have a phenomenal day, everybody. Peace out and one love.
All right, y'all. Let's get to the main event. Because you already know, CJAX, you looking at the title, right? You looking at the title, right? I think bro liked this pay-per-view, bro. That's why I was waiting for him to drop this. I knew he was going to like, because everybody liked this pay-per-view. I like it a little bit, but I only like it because of how it was structured. But the Battle Royal definitely got me intrigued. But I want to hear what CJ has to say about this, because it seemed to me like he liked this pay-per-view. It seemed to me, based off of the title, it seemed to me like he liked this pay-per-view. And I know you guys are going to be in the comments like, oh my God, he's making a positive video. Hey, listen, I watched it. It was good. The Rhea and Io Sky one, I was going to leave it alone until Naomi won the title, okay? She cashed in and took the title. So let's hear what CJ has to say about that. Let's listen.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to say something that I haven't said in a very long time, but this PLE from WWE was very good, okay? You know what I'm saying? I really enjoyed Evolution. This was very good. We had a great opening. Not a great opening. We'll talk about that in a second. You know what I'm saying? But we had multiple good matches throughout this show. This card actually had 7 matches. When is the last time we've had a PLE with 7 matches on it that wasn't a Mania or a SummerSlam? You know what I'm saying? Or a Saudi pay-per-view. You get me? So this was really good to see this, man. I enjoyed it. They showcased so many of the great women's talents. And this should be an actual, well, before we talk about what I was going to say there, we do need to say, and I do need to say, because listen, I've been bashing Triple H for many months, basically calling him a garbage booker, saying he needs to be fired, things of that nature. And I'm going to be honest with you, man. I'm going to have to apologize to absolutely nobody because Triple H sucks at his job, and he is still a garbage booker. However, he did a good job with tonight's show, and I will admit that, okay? Tonight's show was very good. Obviously, we had multiple different showcases of the women's division. We had really good false finishes all night in basically every single match. There were some very creative spots. We saw the different showcasing of the talent in certain scenarios, right? Where you had the Battle Royal, which was a great showcase for the younger talent on NXT, some of the main roster people as well. You had a great main event that actually had a shocking ending with Naomi being your new World Heavyweight Champion rather than her cashing in on Tiffany to become the WWE Women's Champion. So they subverted expectations there. They did something very cool. I thought that was interesting. There are multiple things to break down, but there is not a lot that I had to complain about inside of this show. I will be honest. There were some things that really bothered me that I thought should have been a lot better, and one of them was just straight up stupid and just garbage. But however, a lot of this stuff was really good. I was entertained, and even though the bar has been dropped so low, the fact that this is easily the best PLE since SummerSlam, because again, nothing has happened since SummerSlam good on PLEs. You get what I'm saying? Like, just think about how bad Raw and SmackDown have been this year. I always have to shut off Raw and SmackDown at least an hour early because of how boring and nauseating it is to watch those shows. And the PLEs are normally very garbage.
And you're probably going to do it again.
But this was actual good content, and this is what we need more of. Like Big E said in the post show, whatever it was, he did say something that caught my eye. He basically brought up the fact, he's like, he said sometimes in wrestling you want to just stop watching the show. It's just not entertaining, and it really loses, you lose your joy and your passion for it. But it shows like this that kind of reel you back in and remind you of why you really like professional wrestling. And I was like, you know what? After seeing AEW All In, yeah, there were some matches that I thought were garbage and I wasn't interested in, but a lot of those matches, like the main event with Hangman, I like the match with Swerve and what's called an Ospreay versus the Young Bucks. That match was absolutely awesome. Kenny Omega's match was great. Things like that. And obviously Tony Storm and Mercedes Moné, sorry. Those matches were great, and it reminds you, wow, professional wrestling can be awesome.
Well, that's good that you watched the main event. That's good. That's good.
And then tonight we saw what we saw, and I was like, man, professional wrestling can be awesome. This should be an indicator that Triple H needs to start using his younger talent and push his stars. I've been complaining about how Triple H builds no stars, because the fact is, they are available to be made into stars. We saw people like Sol Ruca tonight, Jada Parker tonight, Stephanie Vaquer tonight, and the list goes on and on of young, good women's talent. All of these people, you can actually develop them and make them into stars or superstars. They have the in-ring part already down. Now, can they build their promos and their story and their character? Once they do that, they're going to be super over and be superstars. The crowd was electric all night. They were popping for basically every woman that came out except for Candice LeRae and B-Fab. Sorry to call them out, but man, we had to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. This was great, and I just have to be honest about it, man. You know, as much as we bash it, we got to be honest. So that's that. Now, with that being said, I didn't finish what I was going to say. You know what I'm saying? I still got more stuff to say. The Triple H should actually get the memo. The gamer, the fiend. You need to push your actual younger talent and make them into superstars or make them into stars. There's no reason why the women's PLE has been this good, just the woman only, but nothing in the men's division has been good at all on PLEs in a very long time. That lets you know not only how talented your women's division is, but how awful Triple H is booking the men's stars. From top to bottom, you see the stuff that's happening with LA Knight, Drew McIntyre, Montez Ford, and the Street Profits. The list goes on and on. Even CM Punk to an extent. He's won nothing since coming back. So and Randy Orton as well with the stuff he's doing with Jelly Roll, Logan Paul. You know, the list goes on and on. You get the point, okay? So it's just a simple fact of it. Triple H needs to take notes and build new stars. Give us something fresh and see how the crowd responds. They may end up liking it in the long run, like we all, or at least probably most of us really like this show tonight. So there you have it. Now, let's get into the review for Evolution. For Evolution. For Evolution. For Evolution. We started off with Stephanie, I was going to say Stephanie Vaquer. Stephanie McMahon came out and basically introduced the show with Joe Tessitore. And Stephanie McMahon, I was thinking this whole time, I'm like, yo, Joe Tessitore, why don't you ask her about what she thinks about her husband's job she's been doing as a booker? You know what I'm saying? So that's that. And because I'm so burnt out from watching all this wrestling content this weekend, be prepared for there to be somewhat minimal editing in this video because your boy is absolutely gassed. However, we do have to discuss the fact that this, Becky Lynch, Bayley, and, Lara Valkyria match, just want to say before I talk about it, the storyline leading into this match is garbage. We all saw when Bayley and Lara's shoulders were both down, so they both got counted for the pin. Again, why are you even counting if both of their shoulders are down? What in the world? These promos that they've had as well leading into it from all three of them have been absolutely garbage. And that's shocking considering that Becky Lynch is a great mic worker and how bad the promos were leading up to this. So this match has a lot of added issues that made me not care about it and that it's made the overall experience of it not good, but we'll talk about that even more. Then we basically move on. We get the first official match. Becky Lynch versus Lara versus Becky for the IC title. I'm not a huge fan of this match, but I can concede the fact that this match was very solid, okay? This was not a good match, but it wasn't bad. It's above average. The problem with this match is that we've seen the same collection of Lara and Becky and, what I'm saying, and Bayley for so long now, for the last, month or two, that things have kind of got, or I see, 2 months now, 2 or 3 months nearly, that is kind of getting very repetitive. This match, the moves are repetitive. You had 40 or 50 roll-ups in this match, 30 or 50 different pins, you know what I'm saying? It got very repetitive and kind of boring at points, and you had already seen the moves in the spot, so it kind of lost its luster a little bit. However, it was solid, it was mildly entertaining, and Becky Lynch ended up winning in a creative roll-up. I don't like the 50-50 booking where no one can just win using a finisher. However, the ending of this match, the way Becky did the roll-up, I thought was well executed. So there was decent in-ring psychology, good technical wrestling a little bit, and some of the moves that were displayed specifically from Lara Valkyria and Bayley, who I think did most of the heavy lifting in this match in ring-wise, in my opinion. They did a good job here. Definitely one of Bayley's better matches over the last year, in my opinion. So this was solid. Becky Lynch retaining. I'm not mad at that decision. I just hope we can finally move on from this and give Becky a new challenger. After all of the women's talent we saw tonight, I better see a battle royal on Raw or SmackDown to decide who's going to challenge for this IC belt next. And Sol Ruca or Jada Parker or someone else better be getting that shot, because there's so many talented women on this roster. You got to start giving out shots to people, bro. We got to move on with this. We need to stop seeing the same people in the mid-card. We got to start bringing in new faces. So that's my idea with that.
Yeah, I agree. We definitely need some new talent to face Becky Lynch now, okay? Bayley and Lyra have their chance. Let's have those two fight it out at SummerSlam or something while we have Becky face somebody new. I say the first person that should be going after Becky Lynch's IC title should be Jada Parker. Let's get into that. All right. You see the photo on the screen. Let's do that. All right, because I'm sick and tired of Jada Parker taking L's in NXT. It's time. I think she has the potential to do it. So let's get started. All right, let's get these. Hey, listen, let's get Jada Parker versus Becky Lynch. I want to see Becky Lynch put her over. Okay, let's do it. All right, either her or Laura Vice, either one of them. But let's make it possible. Or Lash Legend, But yeah, anyone from NXT should face Becky for the title. Absolutely. At SummerSlam. Absolutely.
We then move on and we got what I think is the worst part of the night, which was, what's it called? Oh, no, sorry, actually, before we got that, we got, excuse me, Vicky Guerrero came back. So seeing Vicky Guerrero out there was great. Mark Henry was in the crowd as well, so that was pretty fun to see as well. The childhood favorites pulling back up for the show, thought that was cool. Then we got Jordan Grace versus JC Jane. This match was surprisingly decent, kind of like average level. This wasn't anything good. It was a pretty decent match, though. The only issue with this match is really the ending. I don't know why they had Blake Monroe, a.k.a., Mariah May, whatever the heck you want to call her at this point. She basically, obviously debuted in-ring yesterday at the American Bash, and then basically after this match ended, or near the end of this match, she hits Jordan Grace with the title belt to help JC Jane get the W, and I don't understand this. What I'm saying? I guess they have to turn her heel to give her some, instant gravitas or impact, give her some heat or something, make her character more intriguing, which I understand that, but pulling that trigger in this match when not many people probably know about the story of what's happening with this, heck, I don't even know what's really fully going on with the Fatal Influence or whatever. Are they called Toxic Attraction or Fatal Influence? I don't know. Does anyone know? Can someone correct me in the comments? What are they actually called? I don't know. It's Jasmine Nix and Fallon Henley and then JC Jane. So they're out there basically, and that's the situation with that. Jordan Grace ends up getting pinned by JC Jane due to the interference from Blake Monroe, and now Blake Monroe has officially turned heel, and there you have that. So we'll see what happens with Blake Monroe. A feud with her and Jordan Grace. Now after seeing how talented everyone is, I mean, we already knew they were talented. I've been saying this for months, obviously, but the fact is, now that Blake Monroe is a heel and we know how talented that she was in AEW, her amazing feud with Toni Storm, now she's coming over here to work with Jordan Grace. This could potentially be a good feud with some good matches, so we'll see what happens with this. But JC Jane retains the NXT Championship.
Well, I mean, they've been talking about this for weeks that they were going to turn her heel, and I think, and honestly, her best work is for her to be heel anyway, so, I mean, I wasn't expecting her to be babyface for long, but it was expected. But however, now Maya May is going to be facing Jordan Grace. I still think that Maya May is going to go after Jessie Jane, but however, I just wonder how is she going to be able to beat Jessie Jane by herself? That's the question. I don't know how she's going to do it, but she got to find a way because you're by yourself. So, and Jordan Grace, she's definitely going to try to, take the title from Jessie Jane. So it's probably going to be a triple threat match at some point, but I'm hoping it'll be a one-on-one match. I think what they should do is that they should have Jordan Grace versus Maya May at NXT or some type of PLE, and then after that match, whoever wins gets to face Jessie Jane at Heat Wave, which is next month, by the way. So yeah, I think that's what should happen, but we'll see. But I'm looking forward to this heel run with Maya May. I think it's going to be something that's kind of different because if this is AEW, it would have been very, very graphic. But now that she's in NXT, she's in WWE, it might just be PG-13. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Looking forward to it though.
Now we move on to the Fatal 4-Way Tag match, okay? This was my second most anticipated or first most anticipated match on the entire show. I like, obviously, Charlotte and Alexa Bliss. They're two of my favorite women's wrestlers in the entire company. Sol Ruka's one of my favorite wrestlers in the company. And obviously, you had Raquel and Roxanne, which I don't really care for them, quite frankly. And the Kabuki Warriors, which they're decent, I guess. Kairi Sane needs to stop botching everything, but it is what it is. This match was kind of underwhelming, but however, the energy inside of this match was incredible. Seeing Charlotte get respected by the crowd, I respect you. I love you. I need you. You know what I'm saying? And shout out Rhea Ripley as well later in her match, literally saying word for word, like a quarter way through the match, going up to Io Sky and saying, I respect you, Io. You know what I'm saying? So that was that. But this match right here was pretty hype, man. A lot of energy. Charlotte was getting massive pops throughout. The crowd was chanting for her, which means that, at least this crowd, maybe this crowd was, a little partial towards her. But this crowd obviously were big fans of Charlotte. Sorry, Alexa Bliss got a great pop. Everyone was getting reactions. Sol Ruka hit a great soul snatcher on Charlotte. You had a moment where Charlotte saved Alexa Bliss from getting speared by Zarya, you know what I'm saying? So that was a nice little spot. There are multiple little story elements here and there and good in-ring work throughout, and there were no real egregious botches in this match, which is honestly shocking because Raquel, Roxanne, and Kairi Sane be botching a good bit. So yeah, so to see no botches, that was pretty cool. The ending was very anticlimactic as Raquel Rodriguez literally just power bombed. I think it was Sol Ruka after Sol Ruka got speared, and that was literally it. Like the match just ended, and that was it. So anticlimactic ending, but the in-ring work, seeing this different display of talent and array of tag teams, I thought was pretty entertaining. Now, I will say this, it does seem to me that it's very evident, obviously, right? All of these different tag teams clearly are going to win a tag team championship if they stay together at some point. I mean, the champions already have it. Obviously, the Kabuki Warriors, I think they already had a run as well. Now it's just up to when Charlotte and Alexa will win, or when Sol Ruka will come to the main roster and win any type of gold. So we'll see with that. I enjoyed this, but the ending I thought was pretty bad and underwhelming.
Well, I would disagree. I'm glad they retained the titles because if they lost it, if they would have lost the titles, they would have been screwed because because we all know Raquel can't go after Becky Lynch right now, and we all know Roxanne can't go after the new champion right now. So what will be the point of them losing the belts when it's not the right time right now? They should wait till SummerSlam at least, because I'm hoping that Charlotte and Alexa will go after their titles one more time and then face each other at SummerSlam, so that way we can see Charlotte and Alexa versus Raquel and Roxanne. You know what I mean? So that's what we need to see. And hopefully we'll get that at SummerSlam. But no, I'm glad they retained the titles because they needed to. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if they didn't retain the titles, it would have been something for the Living Dom fans to make fun of, and Liv Morgan would have been laughing on the inside, okay? Even though she don't want to reveal her true colors, secretly she would have been hoping that these two would fail, so that way she could say, ha ha, y'all can't win a match without me, ha ha, you're not a great tag team partner, ha ha, Raquel should have just stuck with me, ha ha, we're the greatest tag team of all time, even though I'm capping, you know what I'm saying? Like it just would have been another moment for Liv Morgan to troll, and we can't go for that, okay? Just keep the belts on them until SummerSlam, and then we'll figure it out from there. But however, I want their opponents to be Charlotte and Alexa, because I don't want Charlotte Flair to give up on Alexa all because of this one loss. Just try it one more time, and, we'll see how it goes from there. Just start a build-up. You know what I mean? You, Raquel, and Roxanne. Like, come on now. You and Charlotte should stay together until SummerSlam, and then hopefully you guys can get a dub, and then maybe there will be a back and forth. But I don't know. Like I said, I think Raquel and Roxanne need to keep up their streak as a team until Liv Morgan comes back, because when Liv Morgan comes back, we have to see what route is she gonna go, and hopefully it's the route to babyface route, because if she go to a babyface route, we can finally get a story to tell her independent. You know what I'm saying? And then hopefully, if she does come back, we can get perseverance between her and the rest of the gang. You know what I'm saying? So we just have to wait and see, because right now Raquel is still claiming that she's doing this for Liv Morgan, but however, that's going to change in the next, I'll say about 4 months. So Dom hasn't given up yet, but at some point he's going to have to, because at the end of the day, it's about business. And I think he could do a great business with Raquel and Roxanne if he separate from Liv Morgan and Liv Morgan go on their own. So we'll see how it goes. But I am glad that Raquel and Roxanne retained, because if they didn't retain, I think they would have been laughed at. They would have been, and people still would have been calling them jobbers. So them retaining was the right decision. So Thank you, Triple H, for doing that. I'm glad that my Latinas are getting their shine. You know what I mean? Shout out to Stephanie Vicaria. Shout out to Roxanne and Raquel. I'm glad that all three of my Latinas were able to get a dub. So yeah, drop a clues down for my three Latinas, y'all.
Then we move on from this. We got Tiffany Stratton versus Trish Stratus. You guys know that I'm officially basically checked out on Tiffany Stratton. I'm done with her. I don't want to see her as champion anymore, and I'm really hoping that because Naomi is now world champ, so they've moved on from the Jade and Naomi stuff, at least for now, hopefully Jade can finally get that WWE Women's Championship at SummerSlam because, listen, Jade Cargill is still developing, obviously, but what she did tonight, that match she had with Naomi, we're going to talk about it in a second, that match was actually very good. Probably her best match or one of her best matches since she's come to WWE, and we have to remember that at WrestleMania, one of the better matches at Mania 41, which was garbage, one of the better matches at Mania 41 was simply the match of what's called Jade and Naomi. That was a pretty solid to even good match at times. So, that's my opinion on that. But anyways, Tiffany Stratton, I'm done. She's boring. She's annoying. She's not a good champion. She doesn't cut good promos, and she doesn't know how to tell stories or build feuds. And her in-ring work rate is solid at times, definitely can be good at times, but it can also be very bad and very, what I'm saying, botchy. And because of that, we have to figure out ways to kind of not move away from her completely, but she needs to get out of the main event scene at least for a few months and try to find out, how to get better, because I don't care how many pops you get. I don't care how many people are yelling your name. That doesn't matter to me at all. How entertaining are you to me? And Tiffany Stratton, the answer is basically zero. Obviously, I'm still haven't, moved on from the fact of her openly just disrespecting Charlotte in that in-ring promo back in Chicago earlier this year in the build to Mania 41. Things like that. There's just something that doesn't sit right with me and Tiffany Stratton, okay? I don't know how else to say it, all right? I'm not a big fan of what she's doing, okay? So that's that. But the match itself was decent. We obviously knew Tiffany Stratton was going to win, so there's nothing really to talk about here. Trish Stratus looked pretty solid here. She did multiple good moves. She looked pretty spry out there. She looked better than most of the roster, honestly, which is crazy. But she did a good job inside of this match. And, pretty much Tiffany Stratton hit her moonsault and won the match. That's pretty much it. She kicked out of a Stratus faction, so it was cool to see that move hit. This is a nice little nostalgia tour match. Little fun match. Nothing really crazy about it. But again, because I don't give a crap about Tiffany Stratton in this title reign, it's basically time to move on. This may have been Trish Stratus's last match. I do think she will get one more match probably, and it'll be her official last one, and they'll market around it on a future pay-per-view probably in Canada, or if they do another Evolution, which I would 100% be down for, she'll probably get her last match then.
And another thing I didn't like about Tiffany is that I didn't like the fact she didn't shake Trish Stratus's hand. I mean, yo, he's supposed to be babyface. Like you just gonna walk away with your title and not shake Trish Stratus's hand afterwards? I didn't understand that. You didn't even shake her hand or hug her or show any type of sportsmanship. Just walk away flexing with the belt. Come on now, Tiffany. You know better than that. I mean, she's not Charlotte Flair. I mean, damn. You acting like she's still the heel Trish with the mask on her face. Come on, dog. She's not with All right, man. Well, I mean, listen, I could care less about the Charlotte Flair promo, what she did back in Chicago. But, however, this was disrespectful. I mean, the fact she didn't even shake her hand afterwards or hug her or show any type of sportsmanship. That's the part I didn't like. You know what I mean? Like Tiffany, come on. You tag team with this woman, and then all of a sudden after the match you just said bump her. I'm just gonna walk away. All right, man. Well, shout out to the crowd for giving Trish Stratus a standing ovation. That really means a lot. I even got a clip, but unfortunately I can't play it on here because I don't want to get striked. But however, if you go on my Instagram, you'll see the full clip. So you'll see it in the morning or in the afternoon on my Instagram. So when you follow me on Instagram, and you'll see it on there. So let's continue.
And we then move on to Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Another, I don't think this is a match of the night candidate, but this is one of the better matches tonight for sure. This was a good match. Very entertaining. I thought Jade Cargill showed a ton of charisma in this match. You know what I'm saying? Just a lot of bragging, being arrogant, really playing into that character. For one of the first times, I feel like, since she's come to WWE, she felt very confident in this match. The crowd was behind her. They loved her out there. She did good in-ring work. She was using the camera and beating up Naomi with it. There was a part where she smacked into the announce table and like the one of the monitors broke and like smoke was coming out of it. The electricity ran out. So that was kind of cool. And then obviously you had the big spot where she hit the Jaded through the table. Like this, Naomi and Jade be putting on some bangers, bro. We got to start opening up dialogues on Jade Cargill low key. Her potential is honestly limitless. As soon as she learns how to actually cut promos unlike a robot, you know what I'm saying, and learns how to tell stories and cut promos, she's probably going to become the one of, if not the best women's wrestler in the entire company. Because physically, she has the look and the appeal, obviously, and then once we get into the in-ring work, once she polishes up on that, learns how to cut promos and tell stories, she's instantly going to be a perennial main eventer every year. It's as simple as that. So, she just has a little bit of things to grow on, but she did a great job in this match. Naomi was good here. Bianca didn't really do much as ref because it was a no DQ, so that was that. But I had fun with this. This is entertaining, and I like both of these characters in here, and they both did a good job, her and Naomi. So Jade ended up getting the W, obviously, to keep her looking strong before SummerSlam. And then we had arguably the match of the night, which was the Battle Royal. Well, the main event was probably better than this, but the Battle Royal was really good. I like this Battle Royal for multiple different reasons. Number one, you get to see people from past and present. Like, you had Nikki Bella in there, which was cool to see. You had Natalya in there, obviously. You had some of the younger talents in there, like Maxine Dupree was showing up. You had some of the NXT people, like your Jada Parkers, Kalani Jordan, Tatum Paxley. And then you had your usual main roster people in there, like your Ivy Nile, Stephanie Vaquer was in there, which was great. Nia Jax was in there. This is a perfect blend of young, mid-level, age, and then obviously older level talents from the old school. This was a great blend to see all these talents in the ring. They were doing all their emotes, like Nikki Bella doing the twirl with Lola Vice, and then Nia Jax doing it. Lash Legend is awesome, man. She's got a great physical build. She looks imposing. She's very believable in her role. This was just a really great showcase of the women's division. Chelsea Green doing her usual antics that normally are very boring and annoying to me and repetitive, but in this scenario, they work. Why? Because that's what Chelsea Green's character is. She's meant to do little funny comedic bits, and she'll be at least remembered for something. So I like this match from top to bottom. And obviously, Stephanie Vaquer got the W. I think we all knew this was going to happen, but she ended up getting the win. And now Stephanie Vaquer will challenge Naomi for the World Heavyweight Championship at Clash in Paris. So there you have that. I enjoy this, man.
Hold up. Naomi is facing Stephanie Vaquer for the women's world title at Clash in Paris? Damn. Okay, then. I ain't mad at that shit. At least we got a main event, right? Now we just got to figure out what to do with Rhea and Io Sky. Damn. What if Rhea and Io Sky team up until Liv Morgan comes back? Huh. Oh, that would be something right there. At least Rhea will have something to do. Shit. Why not? You ain't doing nothing, so shit. Let's do that. Let's have Rhea and Io Sky team up and have them face. Well, then because then they gotta face Raquel and Roxanne. Damn. Let's wait on that. Let's wait because I want to see Charlotte Alexa versus Raquel and Roxanne. So yeah, let's wait. But they gotta do something with Rhea. Damn. What can she do? They could do a triple threat. I don't know. Let's wait. Yeah, let's wait.
What was there? There's not really much to say that you didn't like about this match. Everyone got their little moment to shine. Everyone was doing their charismatic emotes. There was so much charisma shown in this match. The in-ring work rate was pretty solid. And obviously the ending had the rightful winner. And Stephanie Vaquer afterwards cut a promo basically saying how you will remember the name. You will remember La Primera Stephanie Vaquer. You know what I mean? So that was basically the situation with that. I enjoyed this match. Rightful winner, good booked, and good booking, obviously, and good in-ring work rate. Not much to complain about here. This was pretty fun. And then obviously Kalani Jordan as well. We got to give her a shout out for the little save she did, like that Kofi Kingston-esque save. She can see, this is what I'm saying. How can you have this many people just chilling in NXT? You know what I'm saying? Or just chilling in catering, for example. You got to use these people, bruh. Get these people on the main roster ASAP, man. You're going to need it. Now, we get to the main event, which was Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky. Now, normally, as per usual, we all probably expected for Rhea Ripley to win this match. You know what I'm saying? And take back a title that you never lost, yeah? And obviously, we expected, this match to take back my title that you never lost, yeah? And take back my title that never lost, yeah? And take back my title that never lost, yeah? This is my brutality. I'm gonna take back my title that never lost. Yeah. No. So that's what we expected this match to be like with Rhea Ripley. However, this match ended up just being a very, very good match. A great match between Io Sky and Rhea Ripley. Very good in-ring work. I thought that their first 1v1 they had earlier this year when Io won the belt initially, I thought it was kind of patchy and botchy, but their chemistry has clearly grown since then, especially after that masterclass that her, Bianca, and Rhea put on at WrestleMania 41 this year. Okay, they've clearly grown in chemistry, and this match was quite entertaining. They brawled out into the stands and the crowd. Io did a big cross body from like the top of like some scaffolding or like equipment in the crowd. That was really good. They really did go to war. You saw multiple finishers. I don't think Io ever hit her finisher though, but Rhea hit her finishers. The ref got bumped down. There was just a bunch of shenanigans. Really good in-ring work rate. Multiple really good false finishes. Now, obviously, I didn't believe anything of them because I obviously believed Rhea was going to win. So anytime she was the one getting pinned, I knew she was going to kick out. But the false finishes and the drama with it were pretty solid, and the crowd was super enthused this entire matchup, man. So this is a really, really good main event, and obviously it ends with the shock factor of Naomi coming out, hitting Io Sky with the briefcase, cashing in officially, hitting Io Sky with the briefcase, then after throwing Rhea Ripley into the post, and then she fell out of the ring, and then pinning Io because obviously Triple H can't let Rhea get pinned ever. However, you know what I'm saying? The situation is that Naomi basically cashed in and pinned Io Sky after hitting her, split-legged moonsault, and she pinned her, and that was it. And normally I would say, well, maybe Jade Cargill should have interrupted and stuff like that, which there probably is some truth to that. She probably should have came out to interrupt if she really had a blood hatred for Naomi. But Jade Cargill is focused on another championship, to be fair. And obviously, they wanted Naomi to have her moment and make a big moment for the show, so they kind of just bypassed that. There is a little bit of a gap in logic there, which I kind of don't understand. It makes no sense to me. Jade probably should have came out to interrupt her. Even if Jade is going for another title, that doesn't mean she shouldn't just interrupt Naomi. So there's some ticky-tack stuff with that, kind of, inconsistent and bad booking there, but we're going to have moments of bad booking on every show. It's Triple H. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be honest with ourselves. But this match was booked great, shockingly good finish, because if Io Sky, because her reign was obviously wasted, that's one thing I don't like about this situation, right? Io Sky had a championship reign that they listed the graphic. She's been champ for 132 days, or she was, and this is her third title defense. She had done nothing as champion just to lose the belt tonight. And you knew going in she was either going to lose it to Rhea, or shockingly, maybe some of you predicted Naomi was going to cash in, right? But the bottom line is Triple H booked Io Sky's reign absolutely horrendously. So one day, maybe within the next year, Io should get another world title reign or a mid-card belt reign or something, and it should be treated with more care and respect and love and gratitude for Io being one of the best women's wrestlers in ring on the planet. So Io Sky deserves better, but if she's not going to lose to Rhea Ripley, which honestly, if she was going to lose, I thought it was going to be to Rhea, and that would have been unacceptable. I would have came on here and my rant would have been, probably 15 times worse than this, because this is not worse at all. I enjoyed the show, obviously, but this is the thing. If Rhea would have won the title back again, it would have been unacceptable. So the fact that Io lost in this way, where you're giving it to someone completely new and unexpected and shocking and cashing in on Naomi's current character gimmick, which has actually been really good over the last few months on SmackDown, I think this works, and I enjoyed this. This show totality, I'm looking through, I had maybe like 2 or 3 big gripes here and there, mainly with the Jordan Grace versus JC Jane match and the opening Intercontinental title triple threat and that just being overrated. There were some moments where the crowd was clearly overblowing things, like saying like, this is awesome and this is wrestling. Like, we're clearly overdoing it in certain spots, but they were excited. They're cheering on the woman that they support and that they love, that they care for. So I can't get really too mad at it. You get what I'm saying? But the point is, this show was really good. I was entertained for 80% of this show, I would say, maybe 70 to 80% of this show, and therefore I would give this show between a 7 or 8 out of 10, probably an 8. I'll be nice. I'm gonna give you 8 out of 10. This was a good, or even you can make the case that this was potentially a great show. And the shocking thing is, there were no story to any of these matches. None of these matches really had a story when you think about it. The Rhea and Io match had somewhat of a story because Rhea has never beaten Io, so they played on that. The Tiffany versus Trish Stratus thing was kind of thrown on the fly. It's old school versus new school. Jade and Naomi had a story, I'll give give you that. Obviously, Battle Royals aren't meant to have stories, so that's that. And then obviously the other stuff doesn't really have a story as well. The whole Triple Threat Intercontinental Championship storyline is just garbage. I've already talked about that earlier. It is what it is. But the fact is, these matches that actually had somewhat of a story, like the Rhea and Io thing and the Jade and Naomi, those two matches were really good, right? But even the other ones that don't have stories, they were at least really good in ring and had little moments inside of the match to keep you intrigued and engaged as to what's happening. So I thought from top to bottom, this was a very solid show. It was very good, man. I really enjoyed it. It is my favorite and I think the only good PLE that WWE has done since SummerSlam of 2024. And so with that being said, I am content. I am positive. I feel good. And hopefully tomorrow night, LA Knight can win that gauntlet match to challenge for that world title at SummerSlam. Yeah. And hopefully we get some, maybe some positive news on Seth Rollins. Hopefully things aren't as bad as we think they are with his knee. So we'll see what happens with Raw tomorrow night. I feel good tonight, though. This is a really big content weekend. A lot of content from wrestling just coming out, man. A lot of stuff happening, but I enjoyed it, and I thank you guys for being there every step of the way on this ride that CJAX is taking you on. Thank you guys for watching. Have a phenomenal day. Peace out and one love.
Well, here's the list of winners that won tonight. So, again, shout out to Raquel and Roxanne for retaining. And shout out to Stephanie Valkyrie for winning the Battle Royals, so that way she could face Naomi for the title. And, shout out to my Latinas, bro. And shout out to Naomi for winning her first ever women's world title. So, hey, it all worked out for the black and brown, right? And Jessie Jane, because she brown too. So, hey, shout out to my Latinas, shout out to my Hispanics, and shout out to my black queens. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Becky Lynch and Tiffany. I mean, they got their shine, you know what I mean? But other than that, man, it's going to be interesting this week, man. It's going to be interesting. But when this video come out, I just hope we get to see a celebration between Roxanne and Raquel for Monday Night Raw. And same with Stephanie Valkyrie and Naomi. So hopefully we'll get to see that. The only thing I just hope they do is that I just hope that when they do the Judgment Day segment, it won't be corny like last week where we have to literally see Dom and Roxanne ignoring each other when there's no attention in the segment. You know what I mean? So hopefully we'll get to see some attention. Hopefully we'll get to see some communication because, again, I don't know what's next for the Judgment Day, okay? Everybody keep depending on so-and-so, and I ain't going to say her name. You don't say it either. But at the end of the day, drinking too much lemonade is going to make your stomach ache, okay? I understand that, that lemonade is good, especially if you put a lot of sugar in it. But sometimes you got to understand that drinking too much sugar of that lemonade is not good for you, okay? All right? So what I'm trying to say is just because somebody's good to you doesn't mean they're good for you. All right? And what I'm saying is Miss Lemonhead, okay? She is not good for Dominic Mysterio and Raquel Hernandez, okay? She's not, okay? Like I said, too much sugar for lemonade it's not good because of two words, stomach ache, okay? All right, it's just not good. And plus you can get diabetes, so that's another thing. High blood pressure. Gotta watch your diet. All right. Gotta watch it. All right. You too gotta watch your diet. Even though Dominic Mysterio is slim, still gotta focus on your diet. Okay? Metaphorically speaking. But other than that, man, hey man, this was a good PLE. I mean, now I don't know if I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I'm probably gonna give it a 7 just because I wasn't really feeling the Rhea versus Io Sky match. Personally, I don't rock with it. But however, I am happy that Naomi got herself a title. But however, what's next for Jade and Bianca? That's the question. But I guess because Jade is going to do a movie, I guess that's why they kind of put it on pause. But it's like, still, you kind of want to see the storyline, right? But all right, well, I don't know. But now that Naomi won the belt, I just wonder if she's going to stay on SmackDown or is she going to stay on Raw or come to Raw. I don't know. We'll see. But hopefully Rhea doesn't go after the title. Hopefully she'll go after the tag team titles or the Intercontinental title. do that. Okay, please. All right, so get in the comment box. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share if you're new. And I'll catch you on Monday Night Raw. So let's see what happens. Okay? Catch y'all then, all right? Also, comment down below. Let me know what y'all think about this video. Well, one of the videos. Do you like the Saturday Night's rant, or do you like the Evolution review from CJAX? Comment down below. Let me know, okay? I'm out.